Hi, welcome to Big Mama's Kitchen and Catering. We've moved to our new location here at the beautiful Highlander Accelerator building located at 30th and Patrick. We are still open even during the pandemic. We've made some changes and we are here to serve you Omaha's best soul food. The best way to order Big Mama's delicious soul food is to go to our website, bigmamaskitchen.com, click on the Order Now button, place your order, pay for your order, and upon arrival, park at any one of our 4 convenient curbside pickup locations. Give us a call and we'll bring the order right out to you. You can also order carryout from Big Mama's. Park on the Patchett Street side of the building, walk down this long brown sidewalk, and come in through the west doors. Once inside, you come in through the door and enter in what we call the dining room, and you walk right up to our window and you can place your order or pick up your food. We're looking forward to preparing a fresh home-cooked meal for you, and we hope to see you soon.
Check. Alrighty then. Welcome everyone. We got Real Solutions over here. I want to give them a big prop. Also, we have Dina's Place, and Big Mama's Kitchen, and of course, Best Burger. We want to definitely give Theresa Hunter the opportunity to talk about Family Housing Advisory Service. I didn't know they had all these programs, and that's one of the things I think is missing, how this information is being disseminated into the community. And if you don't know, you're going to learn something today. You're going to learn something today. So without further ado, I want to introduce you to Miss Theresa Hunter. You want something to drink?
Hello, everyone. My name is Theresa Hunter, and I serve as Executive Director and CEO for Family Housing Advisory Services at 24th and Lake Streets. We are, a nonprofit housing counseling agency. For something, I got something. Sorry, something is in my throat. I'm so sorry.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sharina. I am with Family Housing Advisory Services, as Theresa just introduced herself, and we serve as a HUD housing counseling agency. My program is the Homeless Prevention Program. Can you hear me good now? Okay,
Yes.
perfect. My program is the Homeless Prevention Program. We do a couple of different things, so I took the liberty to print some things out because I tend to ramble. So I don't want to give you too much information. So Attendant Services is kind of broken down into different parts. And for housing, we also work with housing stabilization. So our Progressive Families program, we work with families with school-aged children in the home. They have to be school-aged, so K through 12. We also will work with early childhood education kids, but they have to be in Educare or Head Start.
Okay.
We provide wraparound services for 6 to 18 months for those families who might be having some type of hardship.
Okay.
Also, we have our housing services. So we do residential services for some of the low-income properties. And again, we provide those services to where for their residents. So go ahead.
Income guidelines. Do you have any?
We have some for certain services.
Okay.
It just depends on what the family is requesting.
Okay.
But there are income guidelines, but they're so high right now that a lot of people qualify at this time. Yes. Right, right. Yep, so the income guidelines depend on, like Theresa said, the government funds, but they're so high that, we're able to get, pretty much everybody qualifies for our services right now. We also
How would you qualify homeless? You mentioned that earlier.
So if you're actually homeless, we provide, and that was my next thing. You brought me right into my next thing. We provide like housing services. So we look for low-income housing, income-based housing, Section 8 housing, public housing. We work with them to provide the housing for the family. And then generally what we come in and do, we help with deposit, first month's rent. And then we also, because we're HUD certified too, all of our counselors are HUD certified. We help with budgeting and making sure that you're successful. So we do provide rental and utility assistance, but we also make sure that the family is a successful tenant going in.
Didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. So also we have our affordable housing, which is our tenant education, and then our specialized population. So our tenant education will provide landlord-tenant education, and actually Joe from our Fair Housing Center, he's here, and he'll discuss his part in that. But we provide education for families who's obtaining housing or either retaining their housing. So, or they have like evictions and things like that on their record. And so some of our education workshops, they can receive a certificate, and potentially that makes them a better tenant. So then some of our workshops are 2 hours. The one that we really like to get people in is 6 hours, because it lays out the whole platform of what a successful tenant looks like, as far as keeping your unit clean, communicating with your landlord, communicating with your neighbors, being good neighbors, being good tenants, budget education, making sure that you can maintain that housing, making sure when you know that you're at a point to where you might not be able to afford your rent or might not be able to pay your rent, communicate with your landlord. A lot of landlords just like to know kind of what's going on. Not all of your business, but say, hey, I ran into a hardship. This is what's going on. Can I work out a payment plan so you could stay in your house? We also provide, this is the good part, emergency services, rental, utility, deposit assistance. And so that's where you were asking me about that income guideline.
Right.
That's kind of where some of that comes into place, but because we have a couple of different funding streams, that's why we're able to get people the assistance that they need.
Now, Together Inc.
Mm-hmm.
and 2121 United Way.
Uh-huh.
Do you guys do the same thing that these other entities
We
do?
partner with them, yes. So we sometimes do intertwine, but we're partners, we're collabing with them. So, you know, if they have a client that they're not able to assist, they'll refer over to us. And then if I have a client that, you know, needs some assistance that they can provide, then we'll refer them over. So it's a warm transfer. We're never, you know, saying, oh, go over to Together or go over to 2-on-1. It's a warm transfer. We all have communication amongst ourselves.
It don't make any sense for us to send them all the way over to 2-on-1 a match when you guys are right down the street, right
Oh,
in the
yeah.
neighborhood. So,
Oh, yeah.
like again, we didn't know this, but we
Mhm.
definitely will be referring people to you guys.
Yeah, yeah. So right now, we're also partnering with the Nebraska Bar Association. So eviction court is going on right now, and so we're able to. We were supposed to start this week, but we had some technical issues. So next week we'll. We could provide them some services. We could provide them rental assistance, and then we'll also provide them with some of that wraparound services for, you know, budgeting. Because budgeting is a really big thing now since the pandemic.
Right.
Heaven forbid it happens again, but we want to prepare you in case it does happen again. So.
What about financial literacy? I mean, that's a big component as well.
Yeah, our home ownership director, she's on vacation right now, but Theresa could probably talk more about home ownership. But please, I'll be here, so let me know if you have any questions.
Right. So
Thank you, Sharina.
one of the things I wanted to know was, do you help individuals go from renting to actually owning, and what is the process?
Yes, we do. We help people, and that's one of the things I think is very important right now. We've had people that will come in because their bank will say you need to take home buyer education, so they'll come to us when they're like 3 weeks out or something. And we've had people who've worked with us like 10 years. So if you have it in your mind, you're just thinking, oh, one day I want to own a home, but you have no idea how to get there. And right now you're looking saying, oh, there's no way ever. But once you take the class, and you don't have to be ready to become a homeowner when you take the class, but you can take the class and find out what you need to do. Work with someone, get a mortgage action plan, then you start working the plan. So you might say, okay, I need to go increase my income. Take the time, do what you need to do, change jobs and do whatever to increase your income. I need to pay off this mountain of debt that I have. You can go and work on that. We have financial education too to help you know how to navigate through that credit process as well. So you can do that homebuyer education, figure out what you need to do it one step at a time. We're not gonna push you to do it today. We're gonna help you get ready. And the thing is, we just want you to be able to take advantage of that opportunity. And if you go through the homebuyer education class and you say, that's not for me, that's just a good outcome as of saying, I do want to become a homeowner. So we're really trying to help people make an educated decision as to whether they should do it or not, how to get themselves prepared to be able to actually take advantage of the opportunities. And right now, there's so much happening. You can see development coming up. More development will be taking place, especially with the America Rescue Plan that's happening right now. There's a lot of things that are going to be coming in our community. And the last thing I want is for housing to be developed, people to go in their houses, and then we are looking and saying, man, I didn't know that was going to happen. I'm not ready. I want to own one of those homes. I want anybody who wants to be able to look at that house and say, hey, I like that one. That's going to be mine. And I'm working on my plan at the same time. So by the time that house gets ready, I'm going to be the person that owns it. So we're really trying to provide that education so that when the time and the opportunity comes, like they say, preparation meets opportunity is a good thing. So if you're preparing, and when the opportunity comes, there we are, you can become a homeowner. So we are, like I said, please, and I actually brought some flyers as well. So if someone is interested in becoming a homeowner or whatever, you can just call the number or go into to our website and register for a class and take the class. Like I said, I don't care if you're not ready today, and it's fine. We just want to help people. We want people to become homeowners, so that's what we're here for. So please do reach out and take advantage of those opportunities.
With the housing shortage being real, how can you assess an average individual with finding the right home, if you will?
Well, the thing is, it's up to the individual to find the right home, and everybody wants the mansion. And sometimes you just have to start where you are, take that first step, and get a house that you will enjoy. And there's a house for everyone. So I can't go and pick a house for you, and you can't pick a house for me. You know what touches you and what you'll be happy with. And so once you find out what you want and you start putting things in order, then you can be able to get into whatever house you want to get into.
Mm-hmm. The average person probably be priced out of houses right now. Is it a good time to really go buy a house? I know I'm definitely looking to buy one, but.
Well, you can't predict too much. Houses, the prices have gone up. And one of the things that you make me think about is the fact that often in our community, when development comes, sometimes people will say, oh, no, I don't want development to come to North Omaha because if it comes here, then my taxes are going to go up on my current property and things of that nature. The problem is either we invest in this community and make it bigger and stronger and beautiful, or we don't. And if we don't, the community deteriorates, the houses go down, and before you know it, you're in a place, that you don't even want to be in. So the thing is, it's here, and because of prices, because of inflation, because it's the pandemic, all of those things, prices have gone up. So a house that was worth whatever, and this is the thing about homeownership overall though too. So although today might not be the day, you just have to gauge what do you think? It's just like investing in the stock market. Are the prices gonna go up or down, or that's how that works. The beauty of homeownership is if you're paying that rent every month anyway, right? You can't get rid of it. You're gonna pay for some place to live. And if you're going to be paying for it, instead of paying it to Willie, and then he's paying the mortgage and he's gaining the equity and being able to use that money for his future, you might as well be paying it for your own ownership, right? And then as that house went up from $100,000 when I bought it today, it was $100,000, and then next year, 10 years or whatever, is worth $200,000. That's $100,000 that I have access to, using the equity to whether I want to put my kids through school or whatever I want to do with that money is then mine. Or if I sell it and get another place, I have $100,000 to use to get a better place that I want to go to next. But if I'm paying rent, I get nothing in return. When I go out, leave my rental place, I'm just going to another place. And I have to come up with another deposit and start all over. Whereas if I am owning my own home, as the home gains value, the difference between what I owe and the new value, that's my money. And so home ownership is a really good tool. Like you said, I can't say if prices are gonna go way down after this, or if they're gonna and maybe this is the apex now where that's where it is today, and they'll continue to go up, which means you'll continue to gain equity. I can't predict what's gonna happen, but we do know that homeownership is a good tool, because then you own whatever value goes up into your own home.
What are some of the workshops that Family Housing Advisory Service offer? I know you talk about the attendant program. What are some of the others?
So we have the rental workshops. We also have the financial education workshops. We also have the homeownership workshops. In addition, we have foreclosure prevention. If people find themselves in a foreclosure situation, we want to make sure people also know that they need to register for the homestead exemption if they're of age, because what we find sometimes is that maybe a husband knew and he handled everything and he always registered for the homestead exemption, and then he passes away. Wife didn't know about it. She just knew everything was taken care of. And then suddenly you have to pay property taxes, and you didn't know that you needed to file that exemption. So we just make sure that you're looking at those things, you're taking care of those things as well. Okay, jump back to the workshops. We also have tax preparation. So we do free tax preparation. Our VITA site is at 3605 Q Street. And and it's in partnership with the IRS, so it's not just a fly-by-night little thing, it's real. And we make sure we correct other people's mistakes as well, so just know that. But what we're really looking at is an opportunity for someone to have access to earned income credits that someone may not be looking at or on their radar. And we've had people that will qualify and get $2,000 of a refund, or 3 or 4 or whatever. And sometimes they think, well, I don't make enough money, so it doesn't matter, so I'm not gonna file my taxes. But once they find out that they're entitled to these refunds, it's like, oh, let me go back. Can I go back last year in 2 years or 3 years? And we can go back and recover those taxes for them, those credits. Because if you're making money at a certain point, then you really will get a refund of some of those taxes that you've paid. So it's not for people who didn't pay into the tax system, but those who've paid in and overpaid into the tax system. And then what other workshops am I missing? Those, and then, so the other, I was gonna go over to Joe, who leads our Fair Housing Center, because we deal with housing discrimination. And we've had instances where a person shows up, it's like, I'm here to see that house that I told you that I was coming to see, and then it was available, and I'm in the parking lot, and okay, I'm here, and my voice doesn't sound so ethnic. And then I get into the place, and it's like, oh, I'm sorry, we rented that out. It's like, okay, what happened between this time and that time? And often you can't tell, so you don't know what's happened. That's when the big dogs come in. So, Joe, here, Joe.
Joe Garcia, not the big dog like she refers to. Good afternoon, everybody.
How you doing, Joe?
Good, thank you. My name is Joe Garcia, and I am the program director for the Fair Housing Center of Nebraska and Iowa, just another program of family housing advisory services. My program is a little bit different than the rest of family housing in that we cover all of Nebraska and all of Iowa. I have a staff of 6. 2 of us are bilingual in Spanish. What we do at the center is we answer a lot of landlord-tenant questions. We get questions all the time. I've been given a 7-day eviction notice. Do I have to be out in 7 days? Or can I withhold this month's rent until my landlord fixes my furnace? I just took a call today. I take calls just like my staff does. And I tell them, listen, the information I give you, you do with what you want. I'm not here to tell you what to do. If it's February 23rd and it's 20 degrees below zero and your furnace isn't working, like I took a call today, and you don't want to pay this month's rent, I don't blame you. I don't blame you at all. But the law does not allow you to do that. There are ways of getting things fixed. One of the ways is not to withhold your rent. So we tell people what their rights are when it comes to landlord-tenant issues. We tell them what that landlord's responsible for and what some of the options that tenant has. We also investigate discrimination in housing. When it comes to discrimination, it's illegal to treat somebody differently, place different terms and conditions based on a person's race, color, sex, religion, national origin, disability, or because they have children in the household. You cannot treat somebody differently. You cannot place different terms and conditions. So we do landlord-tenant work. We investigate discrimination in housing. I do a lot of outreach and education. I do a lot of talks to individuals like yourselves, to social service agencies, to public housing authorities, to landlords, to real estate agents about fair housing, about what we do. We also under fair housing law. And then what we do is we run a testing program, kind of touching base on what Theresa said. The best way to describe testing is like a secret shopper type deal. Is where we train individuals to be testers. We give a personal profile. We tell them this is who you are, where you work, if you're married, if you're single, when you want to move, why you want to move, and we send them out to the place in question. And they act as if they're interested in renting that apartment or getting that bank loan or getting a listing for a house. They make the call, they make the visit. And they, for example, on a rental, they go through the cupboards, they go through the rooms, they ask simple questions like, how much is the rent? How much is the deposit? Are garages included? How much are the utilities? And they act as if they're interested in renting that apartment. When they're done, they come back and fill out a report form of how that transaction went. Within a 48-hour period, we send out a second tester. So let's say the first tester is Hispanic, the second tester is white. We profile both persons identical. Everything about the two people are identical except for the one aspect I'm testing for. That'd be race, color, sex, religion, national origin, disability, because they have children. So that second tester goes out and they meet with the same housing provider and they ask the same questions. They go through the cupboards, and when they're done, they fill out a report form of how that transaction went. At that point, myself and my test coordinator, we look at both report forms to see if one person was treated differently than another person. What we're finding out is discrimination is not as blatant as it was in the 50s and 60s with the cross burnings in the front yard. We call it discrimination with a smile and a handshake. Mr. Garcia, thank you for coming in. Have a seat. Can I get you a cup of coffee? Here's my business card. Right now, there's nothing available, but your name's the first one on the list. As soon as something comes up, I'll give you a call. I've got no reason not to believe him. But we send in a white Mr. Smith. Mr. Smith, I've got 3 apartments available. Which one do you want? Without doing what we do and how we do it, I wouldn't know that I was being denied a unit to rent. In addition, both Nebraska and Iowa are one-party consent recording states, which means as long as one party's conversation is being recorded, you don't have to notify the other party. So we send our testers in with hidden recorders. So it's not a matter of I said, she said, yes, I did, no, I didn't. It's a matter of I've got it on tape. Now we're not here when I talk about testing, especially to landlords. We're not here to point out that you're a racist, you're a racist, you're a racist. We're here to point out that at this place, at this time, when these 2 individuals were in front of you, this is what was said and offered to this person. This isn't what was said and offered to the other person. Now, I've been with the agency for going on 22 years. I started off as a testing program, and 22 years means 2 things. Number 1, I've been doing this a long time, and number 2, I'm really, really old. That's what that means. But prior to becoming the director, I've been the director the last 11 years. I was a test coordinator. We're the only testing program in the 2-state area, which is one of the reasons why we cover all of Nebraska and all of Iowa. And I can spend the rest of your day, the rest of this hour, giving you stories of discrimination we've uncovered. So if you want to hear those stories, you're going to have to invite me back so I can take the rest of your time.
Okay.
So, like I said, we're the only testing program. There's all of the kinds of testing programs throughout the United States. I think the next closest testing program is in St. Louis. So we get contracted, we get funded by HUD to do the work we do. This testing is legal because the courts have upheld that that's the only way to uncover this type of discrimination. So we go all throughout Nebraska to do this work, all throughout Iowa. I've got contracts with civil rights organizations in Cedar Rapids, Des Moines, Sioux City, Lincoln, Omaha, Davenport. So we're doing this work throughout Nebraska and throughout Iowa. So that's in a nutshell what we do. The other thing that I wanted to emphasize is that we do a lot of work. Last year we investigated over 370 some cases of potential discrimination. Of those 370 plus cases we investigated, 73% were on one particular basis. And I'm going to pick on a couple of you. I want you to tell me what do you guess that basis was. Was it based on race, color, sex, religion, national origin, disability, or because of people with children? 73% of the cases we investigated, what would you guess that would be?
People with children.
People with children. What would you guess that would be? Race, color, sex, religion, national origin, or disability, or people with children? Disability. Both good guesses. 73% of the cases we investigated last year were on behalf of people with disabilities. And that's just not in Nebraska and Iowa, that's clear across the nation. Now I have my own unscientific theory of why that is. Number one is that being disabled, any one of us can walk out this door, get hit by a car, and become disabled. Being disabled knows no race, knows no color, knows no age limit, knows no gender. So my point is that there's a bigger pool of people to choose from who can become disabled. My second theory is the definition of disability under fair housing law. Under fair housing, the definition of a disability is a physical or mental impairment that substantially limits one or more major life activities, such as walking, such as breathing. So someone with allergies, asthma, COPD, PTSD, anxiety, depression could be considered disabled under fair housing law. So that's a very broad definition of what a disability is. So we do a lot of work on behalf of people with individuals with disabilities. Some of the examples of the work we do is, especially during the summertime, let's say a landlord has mold in their basement, but little junior has asthma, and they can't reside in that house. So they contact us, we do an intake, we get the authorization form. That parent provides us with documentation that little junior has asthma. Now, as you may or may not know, if you're in the middle of a lease, you just can't get up and leave without incurring an early termination fee. Usually, the standard for the industry is if you want to break your lease early, you got to come up with 3 times your rent. So someone who's paying $700 a month would have to come up with $2,100 to break that lease early. So they contact us. We approach that landlord. That tenant tells us when they want out of their lease. We approach that landlord on that client's behalf and say, listen, because of your condition of your apartment or your house, the mold, and because of little junior's asthma, we're asking you, Mr. Landlord, to let our client out of the lease early without incurring that early termination fee. Now, I'm not the government. We're just a nonprofit organization. We get funded by HUD to do the work we do. So that landlord can tell us to go pound sand, and that's fine. A lot of landlords have, and that's fine. At that point, we will file a fair housing discrimination complaint against that landlord. We do this type of work all the time. We're very successful at doing this type of the work for, here again, a couple of reasons. Number one, that landlord doesn't want a discrimination complaint against them and HUD coming in and looking through their records. But the more, I think the more unsettled reason why is that it's a lot easier for a landlord to let our client out of that lease early as opposed to making those repairs. I can't make a landlord do those repairs. So that landlord will let our client out of the lease early because they'll let them out and they'll bring in someone right behind them and rent that apartment, rent that house, as opposed to making that repair. It's a lot cheaper for him to do that. And that's more the unfortunate truth of how that happens. We do a lot of work on behalf of people with emotional support animals. A landlord has a no pet policy, but he doesn't want he doesn't want animals in his units. But I have a client who has an emotional support animal that needs it for their disability. Not only does that landlord have to waive his no pet policy for our specific client, but he cannot charge him additional pet rent or pet deposit. We do a lot of work on behalf of individuals who have emotional support animals. We tell landlords that, and this is a big hot topic with housing providers, that they don't want to rent their places because animals, pets, cause damage. And the best response I've ever gotten is that I tell landlords, you cannot look at an emotional support animal as a pet because they're not a pet. They're considered assistive devices, similar to someone with a walker or wheelchair. I tell landlords, you cannot charge a person, or you don't charge a person with a walker or a wheelchair an additional deposit. Well, the best response I've ever gotten from a landlord, he says, yeah, well, a walker or a wheelchair don't poop on the carpet. He didn't use the word poop. I said, well, yeah, you got me there. You're right about that. But nonetheless, you still cannot charge pet rent or pet deposit. So in a nutshell, and I know I rush through things, though that in a nutshell is what we do. All of our services are free. You can go to our website. Our number to the center is 402-934-6675. I've got a few business cards with me. So if you have any questions regarding issues with the landlord, or you have any questions that you feel that you or someone you know might be treated differently or unfairly, please give us a call.
Yeah. You answered a lot of my questions. I was wondering why a couple of people in my apartment complex actually have dogs. And I know that the landlord said we couldn't have animals.
Right.
But they was able to have.
Right. They're emotional support animals. You're right.
So to actually file a complaint with your office, what would you do? Walk me through it.
It depends. It depends on the situation. There are times where someone just asks us about how to deal with the situation with the landlord. On every client that we receive a call from, we do an intake. We get the information because I got to report to HUD about the demographics we serve. So we get all the pertinent information, and then the information they give us would tell us what that client's response or options are. So there may be times we just empower that person with the information they need. There are other times where that person needs more assistance. They need an advocate. So that's where we come in and advocate on behalf of that client. If we can settle the situation directly with that landlord and both parties are good with it, then that's all that's needed. But if that landlord wants to be a little stubborn and doesn't want to comply, then at that point, we will file a fair housing complaint, discrimination complaint on behalf of that client with HUD, with the Omaha Human Rights Department. And then we're with that client throughout the whole process. It could be, the legal system is a little overwhelming. We're not attorneys, but we're with them throughout the whole process to explain to them what their options are.
All right, thank you. So you want to come right up, Ms. Hunter?
Yeah.
Just got
Thank
a
you,
couple,
Joe.
couple questions.
When I finished school and I went to get my job right out of law school, so in 1994, the first place I joined in our organization was the Fair Housing Center. And so I was the director of investigations, and so that was near and dear to my heart. We just do a lot of civil rights things, helping people that otherwise would not have information. And that was important to me. Somebody had said to me, they said, well, why would you do that? Why would you do that in free when you could be making a lot of money, otherwise? And I thought, the problem is everybody doesn't have deep pockets. If I own the apartment complex, then I got money and I can pay the attorney for all those types of, things, right?
Right.
But if I'm the tenant and I'm barely getting the rent that I need, I can't afford to go to an attorney. So to me, it was critical. It was important. The work that I was doing was important. And so that's kind of what helped me doing this work for so long.
Yeah, that's very, very, very important. Returning citizens, we have a lot of folks, men and women, coming out of the criminal justice system. Is there an avenue for these individuals to be able to acquire property, acquire a home?
For homeowners?
Yes.
There's not if you want to own a home, I think it's probably even harder to get into a rental, because if you need like subsidized properties and things like that, then there are some things that are tied to them. But for home ownership, you can purchase a home.
Right.
If you have the money, the means to do so, you can purchase a home, and of course, it all depends on being able to get there. And anybody, like I said, can come to the class and things like that in order to make those happen. The other thing is a financial education, and I think we touched on that.
Right,
but that part, getting yourself financially ready as well.
Right.
And then there's Omaha 100 that does mortgage lending. So we know that people who look like us may not have been able to get a home in the past. Right. And I often think about just going back when my parents had paid off their home. Right. And so we were just looking through their documents and just excited because they had paid off their home. But when I got to the part that says our house wasn't supposed to have been sold to Negroes, the terminology at that time, I was like, wow, I knew that happened, but it wasn't in my lifetime that I knew. I was just like, even knowing the fact that they had the house meant that the covenant was unenforceable by that time, but just seeing it in black and white, that was just an eye-opener to me, just being able to see that really happened, and it's still right there in black and white. And so that's another reason why I thought that for me, I wanted to make sure that people have information. Because I had, even our HUD director, he's moved back to Texas, but he was telling the story of how, as far as he knows, from generation to generation, his father, and all those had lived in the projects. And he said they never thought about the possibility of home ownership. And so that thing occurred to me, and another was, I was talking to this young lady who said, Theresa, she was seeing the signs in the yards, and she saw one of the signs said Prudential, and she said, "Oh, all these houses have insurance." And then she said, "Theresa, it just never occurred to me you could actually buy a house or you could sell a house." And I thought, oh my gosh. And so I'm thinking, we're doing all this work. People are coming to the class. Good. We're getting people, informed about, home ownership. Then I thought about it, the fact that if you don't even know that there is a such thing, you can't strive for what you don't know. And I thought, oh man, I have more work than I even knew that I had. My work is even more tremendous, because I thought about it and I thought, how would that happen that you don't even know that? And then I thought, if they kept the information from us in the first place, way, way, way back then, I have no reason to tell you, because even if you go and try to purchase a house, I'm not going to let you do it anyway. So, why do I even need to tell? Oh, Melinda's here. Omaha 100 is here in the house. She'll be up next. Okay, so we have all these things that are going on, and so I thought, if my great-grandfather didn't get the memo, then he couldn't tell the next generation, and they couldn't tell the next generation. So that's why I don't know today. And I thought, how do we make sure that we're letting people know that homeownership could be a possibility for them? And sometimes we have so many people who come in and they'll say, my credit is bad, and I know I can't do it. And we'll look at their credit report and we're like, and it's good. And I think that it's one of the, and sometimes we have some doozies at the same time. But sometimes people think that they're a lot worse than they are, and they can actually be right next door to home ownership, and that money that they're spending for rent can actually be doing them a favor, through a mortgage. And so I want everybody, tell somebody and go tell somebody and let them tell somebody and let them tell somebody that you can possibly do. And you can work with Nicole back there too, because she is in that area as well. But yes, we have to make sure that people know what they can do and that they can become whatever they're trying to. I think information is just a friend. Because I'll tell you too, if it had not been for my sister telling me about the Goodrich Scholarship at UNO, I wouldn't have been able to go to college. But because someone told me something that I was not aware of, so I think it's all of our responsibility to pass it along and let other people know what they may not know and what they may not have access to, because it can mean the difference for just a more progressive life or something else they want to have in life, if they're able to have that information.
So how have home ownership increased? How significantly has it increased?
Well, we've done a lot as far as getting people educated about home ownership. And like I said, people take 5 years, 10 years. So it takes a while to get ready for some. And some people right there at the cusp of being able to become a homeowner. But across the nation, the rates as far as African American home ownership is really low. Like, it can be 74% for, majority. For minorities, like 37% or something. Our home ownership rates are very, very low. And we're really trying to change that, because if you really think about when they're talking about, when they say, well, that's a high net worth residents, or in this neighborhood, the net income, the net worth is really low. Where is the wealth for most people? It's not because they have a whole bunch of stock or whatever. A lot of the people, the reason why they have some kind of a net worth is because they have a home. So they bought a home back when, and now the value has gone up. So now I have some money I can tap into. And so that's really the difference for a lot of people. And just because if we have a lot of people that are paying rent instead of owning their home, then that net worth is going to be lower. I think this must be going out, huh?
I think hers is is going out a little bit.
So another thing that we're going to talk about is about mortgage lending. And so, Glenda, would you like to talk about Omaha 100 and what Omaha 100 does? I kind of went over a little bit before you came, but you can really tell us about what's going on. This is Melinda Williams, who is the Deputy Executive Director for Omaha 100.
Okay.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
How you doing?
So tell us a little bit about Omaha 100.
Absolutely. So Omaha 100 is a community development financial institution. We are in existence to support the community in their dreams of home ownership and really access to capital as a whole. We know that in the past there's been some bad behavior with financial institutions, and so we were created to be able to level the playing field and give the most vulnerable communities access to capital to help build generational wealth and become homeowners, business owners, all that kind of thing.
Where are you guys located at?
We're located right inside the same building with Family Housing Advisory Service.
So you guys actually give out loans?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Sorry about that.
Commercial break.
How long
Yep.
have you guys been in existence?
For about 30 years now, since 1990. And originally, the foundation of our area of work and services are mortgage lending. But this year we participated in a grant called the Middle Income Workforce Housing Grant. And so we'll be able to get into development and building some homes for the middle income of the community so that there's more inventory and the right price point.
So you guys not only help finance homes, you guys have homes available?
Yes, we will next year.
All righty then.
Yeah, but we work with the clients to really help our clients understand and do that extra work that the bank doesn't usually do to help you understand your credit, understand your cash flow, and what makes the most sense for you and your family so that you can achieve home ownership.
So how come people don't know more about Omaha 100?
That's a great question. I think they do. And there's so many resources in the community. Sometimes it's hard to sift through all the resources and the clutter, but we're here, we're in the community, we're right there on 24th and Lake and available to assist whoever's interested in learning more, going through the family housing advisory service programs, being more educated as a homeowner, knowing all the nuances and things that go into home ownership, and then also, you know, what they need to do to be ready, assess themselves and if they're ready, and then take that step.
I think Theresa touched on it. A lot of information don't get disseminated into our communities. So we can't take advantage of the different resources that's out there.
Well, that's good feedback. We can definitely take some initiatives and do some work to get more of that information out.
Okay. All right, then. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, let you have the last word. Anything you want to touch on that we may have missed? Any questions?
Well, that was why we were glad to be able to do this too, because it's hard to get that information out to the community sometimes. And it's critical that we have the resources and that people can take advantage of those. For Omaha 100, a lot of the work they do too is in partnership with the city of Omaha. So if you purchase a house that went through one of the nonprofit developers, whether it was Holy Name Housing Corporation, or if it was Jesu Housing, or if it was Augusta, well, that was older, they don't exist anymore. But some of the different nonprofit developers, then typically they get the down payment and closing cost assistance that might be available through the Federal Home Loan Bank. That's one of the things that Omaha 100 does as well. And then they have other connections like to down payment and closing cost assistance. One of the things that we realized is that we had people who were coming through, but they would have credit challenges, right? And so what we got what we call access to assets. Basically, it's a loan that'll allow people to like get their credit in order so that they can become a homeowner if that's the only challenge that they have. So we try to help people in that realm too. There are different things that, and the city, historically, they've done some really good subsidies. It's not at this level at this time, but at one time they had like up to like $70,000, $70,000 of a subsidy. That's not now. So, no. But back in the day, so you were getting a house for $150,000 or something, and you were able to get a second mortgage for that, and half of it would be forgiven over that time per rata, and so it would allow someone to get into the home for a substantially lower amount than they would have otherwise paid without that subsidy. So there are a lot of different opportunities, but you just have to go to the homebuyer education class, call Omaha 100, learn about what's happening, what you can get, what can help you get to the point where you want to be. So the doors are open. Just come in.
So how long are the classes?
Classes are, so our homebuyer education, like we said, we're HUD certified, so they hold us to a higher standard. And so they're like 12 hours. And so that might be 4 hours, and I think we do them like from 6 to 10 or 5 to 9, something, like three days. Like it's a Monday, then the next Monday, then the following Tuesday or something like that. But you can call and get that information definitely. Or they do, once a month we do a full day class, and that one was only 9 because you're not having to get there and then reiterate some things each time. So, but the financial classes are like, they're usually like a hour and a half each or something, but they're different topics and things. We also do that for children who are they're matriculating through the foster care system. So people who were in foster care, but as you work towards becoming independent, we help people too. And so in that case, between the ages of 14 and 24, I think it's 28 now, we do the financial education as well, and we help people get things that they need. And in that program, there's a match savings, and I didn't mention there's a match savings program for adults, which might be, if you save $50 a month for 2 years, we match it with $1,200. So your $600 investment, or $1,200 over 2 years, gets a $2,400 match. So you have $3,600 to start a business, go back to school, or to purchase a home, or toward the purchase of a home. You're not getting the home for $3,600, right? Okay, so we help people do that, but we also help youth who are transitioning out of foster care, and for them, that's like it's a 2-to-1 match for things that they need on the ordinary, but for transportation, that's like a 3-to-1. It was a 4-to-1. They bring $2,000 to the table, and they get another $6,000, which will help them purchase an automobile. Well, think about it. He's looking at me like, Think about it. If you're in foster care, the parents might be there to help you, but they may not want to do the car thing, because that might be a little more for them to have to do. And so as they're transitioning out of that foster care system, we help them so they save that money. We do the education. We even do the vehicle education. That includes getting under the hood, finding out, all the details relating to that. If you're going into business, we could hook you up to be able to get the business education, homeownership education, whatever you need. So it's wonderful, because we have kids, believe it or not, there are kids who are coming into the system, and they may have some credit issues, really. And often people come in thinking, I want the car. If you were a kid, what are you thinking as a teenager? Car? Yep. He's in, yep. And the problem is, sometimes the parent has used the child's income credit for utilities, for different things, because they messed up theirs, and so the kid is having to deal with credit issues. We've had kids with child support stuff, all kinds of things, and so normally that's what they'll say. But then when we go through the credit and we let them know, well, in 2, 3, 4 years, that car is going to depreciate, is going to give out on you. You're going to have to get another one. If you haven't taken care of those credit issues, then you're still having to deal with the same thing. But if you take this money right now and figure out what to do with your credit, then you can get the car and you're in a better position. And we've done like CD loans, where certificate of deposit, where we'll tell them, I'll tell you what, take this $2,000, put it in the bank, and then you can borrow against it. Instead of you taking that money and just taking it and purchasing the car, and I told my daughter that, and that's what she ended up doing. She put her money in the bank. Then she said, I want to borrow the money for the car, so then she could build her credit up, and she had the money still sitting there. So as she was paying off the car, she could gain access to that money again. But it's a better way to help people keep money in the bank and learn how to use your money in a better way. So there are so many things that you learn in the course of going through these classes. And one of the guys, he had a little DJing business in high school, and he would rent his equipment and do his little DJ gig, then go back and take the equipment back and all of those things. And so he decided to purchase his equipment. So we haven't done it in a while, but we had like Dodging for Dollars, which is a dodgeball competition. We have like 20 teams throughout the city, banks, other nonprofits, 20 whatever teams that would participate. And so this guy brought his DJ equipment, and you would have thought you were at a professional basketball game. It was just pumped up. I mean, people just enjoying it so well from this little guy doing his little DJing, and at the same time doing this competition. It was really, really nice, but at the end of the day, he wrote back to say, when you told me I had to go through these classes, when they had this program, I thought, oh boy, another program, another something to do. I have to go through these stupid classes. He was like, I learned so much. And so he was able to, he's like, now I have my DJing as regular. I've paid off this, I've paid off that, I got my house, I have opened up accounts for my other siblings that were also in foster care. I mean, just the things that you're able to do when you take advantage of opportunities. That's why we're here to tell you all the information we know, so you can do whatever you need to do with it, to share it with whomever. So I thank you for providing this opportunity, and I don't know if anyone had any questions or anything.
Any questions? I've learned so much today. It's not a family housing advisory service. They really provide a lot of other services.
So I know a lot of us probably have student loans. How do they look at student loans when it comes to getting approved for a mortgage loan?
Sorry, I thought I was being loud. No, I was just saying, if you have student loans, that's assessed a little differently than if you have credit card debt, that kind of thing. It's more about your monthly payment and how that affects your debt to income and what you have available to make a payment on a mortgage. So, and it's not so much as a matter of how much student loan debt you have, just what those payments look like on a monthly basis. And even are we able to help you give a call to them and adjust those payments so that we're able to make the mortgage more affordable and give you that wiggle room that you may need for emergency.
Yeah, that's one. Always make those payments.
Just to let everyone know that there is a public service loan forgiveness program. If you ever worked in public service, there's a waiver right now. They are forgiving 100% of your student loans. So you need to go out there and research public public service student loan forgiveness program. Biden, he created a waiver for most of the people that qualified, that didn't qualify in the past can qualify now, and they are wiping out student loans to zero. But it ends October 2022, so you need to research and get that in. Oh, so public service is like nonprofit work, community organizations like Charles Drew. This is where Job Corps, these places I used to work. So they go back 10 years, but they can adjust that for you right now with the waiver. So sometimes you were getting maybe 30,000 forgiven, 40,000 forgiven. Now it's 100%. I'm in a group where they teach us how to work with the Fed loan program to get everything situated so we can get 100% of our student loan debt forgiven. So that's a huge area. That's why I asked that question, what does student loans look like when it comes to owning a home? Will that disqualify you? Because a lot of us have, I'm gonna be honest, I got like $100,000 worth of student loans, and that's when interest. I mean, I do have my master's, you know, I'm a career student, you know, but that's a good win. I didn't know that I could qualify for that. So that's something to look at when you're getting your finances in order to look for a home.
We want to thank you guys so much, but we got 4 vendors, and I want to definitely give them an opportunity to come up and talk about what they do. This is Black History Month. So we'll start off with you. Yeah, take a couple minutes. Introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Dana, and I'm the founder and organizer of a new group called Anti-Animal Abuse Social Club Omaha. And so our group is, we advocate for the rights of animals for our group and promote veganism. But today, what I'm talking about is the role that animal agriculture plays in the racism in our food and healthcare systems, and how it affects a large population of the Black community, because the Black community has one of the highest rates of obesity, diabetes, heart disease, high blood pressure, and all of those things can be contributed to our diet. And I guess the way that the Black community has this soul food is deeply rooted in slavery, and how white people they gave their scraps to slaves, and that became their comfort food, their only way to get comfort from during those hard times. And those foods are now deeply embedded into the culture, and now it is basically deteriorating all of our health and stuff. And furthermore, for example, fast food companies, they target populations that are minorities and in underserved and underprivileged communities. And so they purposefully put those fast food places in those communities to control that population of people, you know. And so what we're trying to advocate for is for a healthier lifestyle for all humans, and because of that healthy lifestyle, these animals will also be able to not be slaughtered and
Do you have a website?
Yes, well, we have a Facebook page, and we're currently working on a website. But yeah, and I guess a big part of it too is that with animal oppression, the commonality that both humans and animals have is our sentience. So we have the ability to feel pain, happiness, love, joy, and we have our own individual personalities and our own experiences of reality. And so to discriminate against an animal just because they're a different species from humans is arbitrary discrimination, and animals have the right to live free from everything that we do to them in the animal agriculture industry, because it's just horrific, and it's at such a large scale. Around 70 billion land animals are slaughtered every year, and 2.7 trillion sea animals are slaughtered every year for just our food. And that's not considering for our clothes, for experiments. And so it's just a lot of the issues that we're seeing today are related to the way that we treat animals as our on this planet. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you. We try to keep it under 2 minutes. Oh, you all good. Do you have any cards or? Could you pass them out? Okay. Hi, how you doing?
All right. How you doing? How y'all doing today? My name is Jackie Robbins, and I'm the owner of a Rib Shack Smokehouse. We're on 108th and Q in the old Roxbury Plaza. We are doing a reopening fundraiser right now, asking for community support. We was closed 30 days after the loss of my son, and as you know, in the food industry right now, we took the hardest hit anyway, so it's just been really tough. New to the community, I'm born and raised in St. Louis, but been here. We do offer barbecue and soul food, and we're open from Thursday through Sunday. Thursday 11 to 9, Friday and Saturday 11 to 10, and Sunday 12 to 7. We have a website, ribshacksmokehouse.com. You can see our menu. We do offer catering, and you know, just need some community love. I was on with Mr. King earlier, and I said this is the first time we've been on this side for asking for help. We always, in our community in St. Louis, which I'm trying to build here in Omaha, we always gave. We were like a restaurant activist. We were heavily involved in the community from I fed the whole entire Mike Brown funeral from Reverend Jesse Jackson, L. Sharpton, a lot of the different people we've done a lot of catering for. And so now this is our first time being on this side asking for community love, community help. But whatever you could do, it could be catering, it could be just coming to support us. We need it right now. We let you try before you buy, so the food is good. You can get a sample. So if you're not sure what you like, you can come get you a sample. But we really appreciate you all coming to support, and just thanks for being here.
So do you have a GoFundMe page or?
Yes, sir. We have a GoFundMe page on our Facebook page. Also, Cash App, Empowered to Be, so you can also support in those ways as well. But we really want y'all to try the food. But it's, you know, whatever way.
Make sure you give the information to those two ladies over there.
Okay.
All
yes,
right.
ma'am.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Thank
Thank you so much. Thank y'all.
Martine?
Hi, everybody. My name is Martine Corte, owner of Advanced Tax Solutions. We're right here in the back. We help individuals and families with their tax filing requirements and also small business. We help you reconstruct your Schedule C, which is your profit and loss schedule. That's our specialty. I love my small business owners, but I always advocate for them because I want them to level up. Instead of staying in that side hustle lane, why don't you go ahead and legalize your business by registering it with the Secretary of State, get your EIN, Your DUNS numbers help build business credit so that you can get out here and move in these streets and provide service to the community, which is what you start your business for, right? So if you have any questions on trying to get started, also I'm a business coach out there as well. So if you need help, we do LLC and EIN registrations to help you legitimize your business and start making money. Make sure you're in position to receive any funding coming down from the SBA or the government or whoever. These organizations out here are also helping with, funding your business. So you have to have your taxes done and you have to have your business registered. So it's very, very important that we get in alignment so that you can receive the help that you need. Thank you very much. Oh, we're located at 6311 Ames Avenue. Thank you.
The hardest working woman show.
Hello, everyone. My name is Tiffany Gamble, and I am the president and CEO of Gamble Tech Firm, where we empower, inspire, and educate future Black technologists. We provide community workshops, trainings, career tech coaching, and also a youth tech program developer. So we go to different organizations and provide tech camps and education. If you want to pivot into the tech space, we also will help with that. We have opportunities and resources there. We just launched a partnership with Metro Community College where 16 and up can get their certification in information technology fundamentals. So that is a 2-year partnership. We're looking for some students to register. You can find us on our Facebook page, Gamble Tech Firm, and you can also look at our website, gambletechfirm.com. And then the other side, we have a nonprofit, Emerging Ladies Academy, where we empower Black girls in technology through after-school programming, and we have a tech academy on Saturdays. We teach from computer science, engineering, and biomedical science. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to hit me in my pockets. We got about 300 folks that come through our pantry. We would love to drop a lot of material that you guys talked about. A lot of our folks need it. So whenever we can pick it up, I'll be grateful.
What's up, everybody? It's working? Hello? Oh, okay. I got to talk close to it. All right. I got the body oils over there, cologne, perfume, and unisex. So, like, if you want to come over there and check them out, come check them out, it's called L402 Body Oils. Yeah. All right, y'all. Yeah.
Hi, you guys. I'm Nicole Ryan with Lana Solutions. I passed out a pamphlet just to let you know in detail what we do, not the average credit financial advisor. We literally sit down and work through money issues, concerns, what have you. I was blessed to know of Omaha 100 when I bought my first house in the early 2000s. And I got a $45,000 grant. I decided to get it in a target area where I had more money funded. And when I tell you they educated, I didn't have a clue. I was a first-time home buyer in my mom and dad's family. So Family Housing Advisory, Omaha 100, phenomenal. And I send several clients to them, the ones that are repairing their credit, to buy homes because of the grants and the loans and the funding and the education that they have. So Nicole Ryan, Lana Solutions, if you have any financial concerns. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Again, we want to thank Big Mamas, Dina's, and Best Burger, and of course, Real Quick Solutions. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next month.
With that, I'm also about to add a business academy to our publication, where we're going to be teaching business coaching, business branding, business strategy, key Bible principles, and some kind of life coach management. I'm in the middle of putting a presentation to do so on the 19th of March called Corporate Mingle. So if you're available, please reach out to Martine and she will get the flyer to you to come and actually see the presentation of what we're doing. The reason for this is because I have encountered many of young women within Omaha that doesn't have educational level and do not have the monies to actually go to school and complete it. And because of my mom, and I understand what it is like not to be able to go to college because I didn't go, but I created a business on my own. With that, it moves me to also help women that didn't have or don't have the capacity to actually go to school and finish. So what we want to do is educate these young ladies to give them the correct information that they need to actually move forward out in the world, even if they cannot afford to go to college. So I feel at this point, it is very important to give an outlet to those who doesn't have the correct information or the monies to go, or even if you do not, you're not a citizen of this country, you don't have a paperwork, so you cannot go, and college is gonna cost you a lot. This is the program that we're gonna be starting called 7 Key Success 360. It's a 360 program. Why? Because it costs $360 for the 7 program. For this, it's 7 program, about an hour and a half each program. You do get a certificate when you leave, and you get about 2 weeks of coaching with all my coaches that's on staff. One of my coaches, Dr. Keisha, it's Hendricks Hawkins, yes, and Timothy Moore is also on my team. I have a young lady flying in from California. Her name is Felicia Moore. She's going to be helping us with some of the credit side to understand it a little bit, as well as I will be latching on to Lana Solutions to help me out with some stuff with some of these young ladies, as well as Martine as well. So it's more like, you know, help the community, help the young people that needs help, that don't have the opportunity to be in college and never possibly won't get an opportunity to do so. I'm sorry? The age group is limited. We do not stop you no matter what age you are. And what I'm noticing is that a lot of people here also have reading problems. So I'm going to latch on to a principal here to teach proper grammar and, you know, just how to read. And this is going to be personal one-on-one time, because I know how hard it is when people feel that, you know, when people know your business and you do not want to be in that space where everyone knows what's going on with you. So I'm opening that outlet so that you can come and learn to read on your own time and feel like you're a part of this place, because it is tough not having education and, you know, being out in the world and can't do business. So I totally get that. Yeah. Thank you.
Hi, welcome to Big Mom's Kitchen and Catering. We've moved to our new location here at the beautiful Highlander Accelerator building located at 30th and Patrick. We are still open even during the pandemic. We've made some changes and we are here to serve you Omaha's best soul food. The best way to order Big Mama's delicious soul food is to go to our website, bigmamaskitchen.com, click on the Order Now button, place your order, pay for your order, and upon arrival, park at any one of our 4 convenient curbside pickup locations. Give us a call and we'll bring the order right out to you. You can also order carryout from Big Mama's. Park on the Patchett Street side of the building, walk down this long brown sidewalk, and come in through the west doors. Once inside, you come in through the door and enter in what we call the dining room, and you walk right up to our window and you can place your order or pick up your food. We're looking forward to preparing a fresh home-cooked meal for you, and we hope to see you soon.